Hi, I'm Sharon Bill. Welcome to my Theory Tuition series where I'll lead you step by step through the ABRSM Theory Grades. There are lots of resources available to help you on my website. If you go to sharonbill.com, you'll find some free PDF information sheets. You can download these in US letter or A4 to accompany each step of this series. You'll find a page there with links to all of my YouTube video tutorials, and you can also find out about the books that I have available. I've written an exam technique guide, how to take your ABRSM Music Theory Exam. It's full of tips and techniques on how to best be prepared for your exam and also how to make the best use of your time on exam day. So if you visit sharonbill.com, you'll find it's all there. If you can give me a like, that would be super, and please do subscribe to my channel and do share out the videos. And now we're going to continue with the 2019 practice paper C for grade 3. So if you turn with me in the grade 3 2019 practice paper work booklet to page 12, we can continue with this. So I'm hoping you've had a go of this on your own, and then we'll just check through this together now. So we're looking at intervals. So the first job is to count just literally the distance between the notes, and then we need to describe whether it's a major or a minor or a perfect interval. If you want to look at these intervals in more depth, if you have a look on my playlist, Music Theory for Everyone, I talk about each individual interval in turn and describe exactly how it works out and why they're named the way they are. So if you want a bit more revision on that, do look at that video. You'll find the link to the playlist in the cards and in the description. And so, first job is counting the number of the interval. And so the only way you can perhaps go wrong here is if you forget to count this bottom given note as number 1. Remember this, we're in A minor, this is the first degree of the scale, and you always count the lowest note of the tonic. So this is 1, 2, 3, counting line, space line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's a sixth of some sort, and that's kind of half marks, easy peasy really. The next bit is where we have to switch our brain on a little bit more, and so you need to be fully aware of your key signatures of your major and minor keys. So it's helpful to have them written down already in your circle of fifths for the sharps and the flat keys. In this scale, in this grade, sorry, you only need to go to 4 sharps or 4 flats. So you don't need the whole list. If you're not sure how to do this, again, look on my playlist, Music Theory for Everyone, and you'll find the circle of fifths is really helpful. And once you've got that down, all of your thinking is done, and you're just applying that knowledge instead of having to keep thinking about it. So do look at the cards and the description box for that video as well. That's really helpful. It's an invaluable tool. So we need to be thinking, is this a major or a minor interval? Minor literally means smaller, major means greater. And A major has a key signature of F sharps, C sharps and G sharps. F sharp is part of the major scale, and you can see as well, if I just show you, A to F is smaller, A to F sharp is greater. It's part of the greater step. It's a major interval, part of the major key signature. So it's a major sixth. So now we have, counting from D as our tonic, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to D. So that's an octave, or you could say eighth, or you could just write the word octave, I suppose. Any of those say the same thing. And octaves are perfect. There's no major or minor scenario. It's a perfect interval. And again, I explain that more fully in my video in the playlist Music Theory for Everyone, where I explain intervals of an octave. So let's press on. So we're counting now in the bass clef from this low E flat. So let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's a seventh. So that's half the job done. And now we need to think about, in the key of E flat major, which has B flats, E flats and A flats, D is part of that major scale pattern. It's a full interval. the big step from E flat to D. So it's part of the major scale key signature and it's the full step. So that's a major seventh. It's not been altered to be made smaller. Let's carry on. So now we have a 1, 2, 3. It's a third. We're counting from F. Don't forget the key signature is active here. That is an A flat. Now then, F major has a key signature of B flats, not A flats. And so F to A is the major third, the greater of the intervals. And A flat is part of the minor key signature. It's been made smaller. Because of that, it's part of the minor key signature, so that's a minor third. And then finally, counting here from this high F sharp in the bass clef, C, D, E, F sharp, 1, 2, we've only gone up a second from 1 to 2. Now here, F sharp to G sharp, it's quite hard to think about. It's a major step, it's a full second, but it's quite hard to think. So if you just sort of visualise that, first of all, F to G is a major second, and then just parallel move that up, F sharp to G sharp is also a major second. It might help you to think of it that way. It's a major second. There we go. And now let's move on to the next question. So question 4 asks us to give the letter name for each of these notes. So we're just going to have to do a bit of thinking, watching out which clef we're in. There are various ways that we can do that. So here we've sort of gone a little bit off the map into Ledgerland, as it were. And so we could either count from somewhere we're familiar with. So we know that that's middle C. Middle C, if you imagine, is at the bottom of the treble, the top of the bass. You're meeting in the middle. So this is at the bottom of the treble. C, B, A, G. Alternatively, you can count an octave up. Don't forget to count the given note as 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 takes us to G, an octave lower. So we know that that's G. So same again here. This is middle C at the top of the bass clef. C, D, E, F, G flat, or we can count down the octave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we know it's all cows eat grass. So it's G flat. Now I'm going to write the word flat, not put the symbol. They've done that, so we shall follow their example. So now, again, we're quite off the map here. So we could count from a familiar territory. We know that this is an F. Every good boy deserves football. F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F. So we've counted up. Or we can count the octave down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 takes us to F, an octave higher. Back into the bass clef. Now we know that this bottom line is G, good boys deserve, and so on. So G, F, E, D sharp. Or you can count the octave up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good boys deserve. D sharp. Writing the word in full just to follow their example. If you find it hard counting up and down the notes, again, this is where a piano keyboard, quick little diagram, you don't have to have a work of art, just helps you to count up, because it gets a bit confusing as it goes E, F, G, A, B, C. So that might help you to just keep counting as well if you've got a bit of a visual reference there. Now then, this last one, we know that this is F. Good boys deserve football always. Oh, sorry. Every good boy deserves football. We're in the treble clef, aren't we? Football, F, G, A. We know that that's an A. There we go. That's that question completed. Let's move on to question 5. So now we have a bit of grouping to do. We need to beam these notes. And so we're going to rewrite this melody with the notes correctly beamed. And once you see it correctly beamed, you'll see how important it is, because we need to show where each new beat starts. So we're going to reflect the fact that we are counting in quarter notes or crotchet beats. So for the most part, you have to group in crotchet beats. There are just a few exceptions. So for example, if you remember in 3/4, if it's a bar of entirely nothing but quavers, eighth notes, you could beam all of those together. But that's not the case here. We've got mixtures of dotted quavers and semiquavers and so on. So we're going to have to show each new group, we're going to beam to show each new beat. So before we get writing, let's just do the thinking first of all. So we know here, let's just sort of diagram this out. Here is our crotchet beat, and I'm going to divide it into quarters. So we know that a quaver or an eighth note is half of a beat, so that's half of the beat full. The dot after the note gives us half as long again, and then the semiquaver, the 16th note, is a quarter of a beat, which finishes that beat. So those notes will have to be beamed together to show beat 1. Then we have a half of a beat and 2 quarters, which gives us a whole. I'll just diagram that once more, and then we can follow suit. So a half of a beat, a quarter of a beat, a quarter of a beat shows us a beat there. And then we get it the same in reverse order. Quarter, quarter, half of a beat, there's beat 3. So they're going to have to be beamed together. So we already know where the beams are going to go. Now 2 halves make a whole of a beat, so there's beat 1. 3 quarters and a quarter, just like we worked out here, there's beat 2. Beat 3 is a crotchet, a quarter note, so that stays as it is, no beaming required. A half a beat and 2 quarters gives us beat 1. 2 quarters and a half gives us beat 2. Then we have 3 quarters of a beat here, and instead of having 1 quarter, we have 2 eighths. I'll just diagram that, just so you're absolutely sure what's going on here. So we have half of a beat here with the quaver, the 8th note. The dot after the note gives us half of that half, so we have a quarter of a beat here. And then here we have 2 demi-semiquavers, 2 32nd notes, which are an eighth of a beat each. So there's an eighth and an eighth finishing that final quarter. They are going to be beamed together to show beat 3. Now we have the same scenario as here and here, but in reverse. We have a quarter of a beat and then 3 quarters. Then we have 2 halves to give us beat 2. Beat 3 is a crotchet, so nothing to do there. So we've done the thinking now. Now we've just got to write it out. Now I'm going to get the note heads in first of all for 2 reasons. One, just so I know I'm not going to run out of space, so I know that everything's positioned correctly. But then we're going to have some decisions to make about which way stems are going to go. And so I'm going to leave my brain free to think about that properly rather than trying to do everything all at once on the fly, as it were. And there are quite a lot of notes, so I'm going to have to really think about getting everything in the right place. So I'm keeping everything aligned with their example, just so I don't run out of space, really. This is where you really do need a sharp pencil as well, because you'll just run out of space if your notes get too lumpy. So now I know everything's fitting in the right place, and then I can worry about the stems afterwards. Nearly there. This is the nice bit there. We've done all the hard thinking. Dot this. Dot this one. There we go. Righty-ho. So although this stem is down here, because this stem has to go up because it's below the middle line, this one's going to have to, because this can go either way on the middle line, this is going to have to move for the sake of this one. Now these need to come down, so these can all come down. By all means use a ruler. Let's use a ruler, keep it nice and neat. I'm trying to be reasonably quick, but you use a ruler. So this is beginning and ending on the same note, so I'm going to beam that straight. I won't make that diagonal. course they come down because they're all above the middle line. Same again here, making sure I put the correct number of beams. So there's 2 beams to show semiquavers, 16th notes, just 1 beam to show the quavers. So beam that's dotted, so that little tail just goes there. Nothing changes for that one. Now then, these stems are going to have to come down for the sake of this one here. This can go either way. Oh, hold on, I'm getting a bit carried away here. Let's, it's these 3. See, this is good, I've done my thinking all beforehand. So these are semis, there we go. So that needs another beam there. Now then, I'm beginning and ending on the same note, so I'll keep that level. And then this needs an extra 2 beams to show demi-semis, or 32nd notes. Stems down again. That's the semi, the 16th note, so a little tail there. These can be beamed together, both stems down, stem down. There we go. That's that question completed. And you can see how, I'll just make my dot a bit more obvious there. Now it's so much easier for a performer because we can see beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, 1, 2, 3. There, that would be so difficult to play. We can't see where the beat falls. So you can see how important it is to just get this correctly grouped. So that's the end of that question. We'll look at the next questions in the next video. I do hope this is helpful to you. I hope that you're enjoying it. I'm enjoying working through it with you, that's for sure. If you can give me a like, that would be super, and please do subscribe to my channel to keep updated, and do share out the videos. And please also do visit sharonbill.com and make use of all of the resource and information that's available there to help you. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.